Welcome back. Well, not very often you have advocates, you have lawyers from within the courtrooms who raise concerns over statements which have been made openly by even judges. In this one case, it seems to be an exception where a lawyer has actually gone ahead to raise his concerns over what he says are extremely patriarchal and demeaning statements. He's, in fact, gone public to quote a judge in Pune, with his comments on a married woman's appearance during a mediation session. The judge, according to the lawyer, has reportedly questioned why a husband should be interested in his wife if she does not wear a Mangalsutra or Bindi, which are traditional symbols of marriage in India. Not only that, but the judge also claimed that women who earn well, in another incident, claimed that women who earn well seek husbands with higher incomes, in contrast to a wealthy man who might even marry a maid, that highlights their flexibility in marriage and urging women to be less rigid. Two different cases, two different judges, but one lawyer who seems to just bring this out in public discourse. This incident has come to light through a post on social media by Pune-based disputes lawyer who has expressed concerns over such remarks, calling them just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to biases faced by women in district courts. And joining us at this point is advocate Ankur R Jahagirdar, who's a disputes lawyer based out of Pune. Thank you very much, Advocate Ankur, for joining us and for your time. My first question, Advocate Ankur, what really happened in the courtroom? What left you so upset?
Sneha, I mean, with respect to the incident where the judge said that, the woman, with the bindi and the Mangalsutra, I don't think that a mediator judge who's conducting a mediation should make those kinds of comments. I believe that, such comments are is a way to exceed the judge's mandate. I mean, a mediator is supposed to stick to the, facts of the case and try to amicably settle, encourage the parties to amicably settle their disputes. But what ends up happening is sometimes when these mediations are conducted in the district courts, the process is unstructured, and that is why when senior judges are conducting these mediations, they tend to take a paternal approach. And so instead of sticking to facts, they take a moral approach, or they make the kind of comments that they make, and it's very triggering for some clients who may not agree with their opinions, as was the case in my client's case, who did not agree, and she felt offended by what the judge said. So that kind of approach should not be the norm. Even if the judge holds that opinion, that's fine. They're entitled to their opinion. But in a professional setting, they should stick to their mandate, which as a mediator is only to try and resolve the disputes amicably between the parties.
Well, Advocate Ankur, this has not been out there in public discourse. It was your LinkedIn post that brought out these statements. So for the benefit of our viewers, why don't you just break down these two separate instances? One, where you're mentioning about the comments made on the Mangalsutra and the Bindi, as well as one, too, that happened to your client. What were the statements that were said in the court? What were the reactions? Did people react to it? These are advocates, these are lawyers, it's an official courtroom. But at least were eyebrows raised? Was there a sense of discomfort? Could you just tell our viewers?
So in the first incident, it was an open court. I was waiting for my matter to come up. The judge was taking up mediations. Typically, when the judge is in a mediation, these mediations are taken up in the judge's chamber. But on this particular day, they were being taken up in open court. That's why I was able to hear them in the first place. And so this particular couple came, and the judge was trying to encourage them to, amicably settle their dispute. However, the judge ended up, looking at the woman and saying that, you're not wearing a Mangalsutra, or you're not wearing a bindi, and that is not how a married woman, looks or behaves. And so perhaps that's why, your husband is not showing interest in you, something along those lines. And so, I mean, like you asked, the woman did not really respond to that specific comment, nor did anyone else in the courtroom. I mean, the obvious reason being that it's a judge. Typically, people don't, even if they're offended, nobody really stands up to a judge. That's probably part of the problem that even if these offhand remarks are made, even in other situations, when judges make certain remarks that don't sit well with lawyers or with litigants, there's no way for someone to really stand up to the judge, because then you would, probably end up being in contempt of court, or you would, maybe you fear some sort of backlash. You can understand, right? So nobody really, takes an objection in that moment. That is probably why nobody else said anything. I also didn't say anything. In retrospect, perhaps I should have stood up. But in anyway, later when I remembered the incident, I felt like this is something that people should discuss. I also want to specifically tell you that I did not name both the judges in my post or anywhere else. Even when I've spoken to journalists, I have not named the judges, specifically because I believe that they are entitled to their opinion. It's not illegal to have that opinion. It's just a difference of opinion that I have with them. Uh, but I don't agree with that comment, and so I thought people should talk about it. That's not how a mediation process should be conducted. And so, if people can talk about it and come to a consensus on what is acceptable and what is not in a court setting or in a mediation setting, then perhaps things will improve. So that was the first incident, and the second incident happened in a judge's chamber, so it was not in the open court, and that was my client. But again, because of the
Right.
comments that the judge made, the judge said that men, if they're earning a certain amount, they will typically settle. They will also settle for someone who's earning less than them. But if women are earning a good salary, they'll probably always want someone who earns more than them. So men are flexible. That's what he was trying to say, and that didn't sit well with me. I didn't agree with that statement. I don't think my client agreed with it either. The environment was quite hostile. She cried. The mediation failed, and this was a matter that I believed could have resulted in a successful settlement had the mediator taken a different route. But again, I didn't object to those comments because it was a very senior judge. I don't think I, as someone who has practiced for 10 years, was in a position to say anything directly to him, nor was the client, probably
Right.
also because they fear some sort of backlash. So they didn't agree with him and the mediation failed. But this is not how the mediation process should work. There should be a structure to it. There should be some limitations to it. There should be some limitation to what the judge can say. They may have their personal opinions. That's fine.
Right.
All of us can't have the same opinion all the time. It's just that if I disagree with something, I exercise my right to free speech. I put it out on LinkedIn so that people can know that this is what's happening and people can discuss, and perhaps then there's some light is shed on this situation.
Right. Advocate Ankur, now here's the question. Very rarely you would have advocates from within the system come and speak about these things openly. You've chosen to do so. You've also made a very important point, and that is there is no place to really go and complain or raise your concern about statements or words used by judges. For people like us, we would be told, but there is Supreme Court. And of course, Supreme Court has many times taken some very strong stand in similar cases, but not everything reaches the Supreme Court. So as a lawyer who's part of the system, what would you want? What would you want to change? What would you want to be set up? Because other places may have grievance redressal systems. You obviously don't have something within the judiciary as such when it comes to cases such as this.
I'll give you a very specific answer to this, Sneha. One thing that I would really like to change is for there to be some sort of transcript or record of what has happened in a mediation proceeding. Right now, both the mediator and the parties wing it. So the parties are told that on so and so day at so and so time you have to come for mediation, and then when they get there, they just have a chat with the mediator. But typically, if it was a structured process, they would be given some sort of literature or a brochure. They would be briefed, how to think about mediation, how not to be adversarial in that setting. How other people ended up, some type of data or statistics for how other people managed to settle their disputes, because many of the disputes in matrimonial matters are similar, if not same. So if they're briefed about it and if there's a structure to that process, it would really help. And for there to be a transcript or a record, some sort of minutes of meeting where, when parties go into mediation, if somebody does say something rude, or somebody makes an offhand remark, somebody says something that is unacceptable, there's a record and you have a recourse against it, so you're not you don't have to give up on it. And just knowing that, there are,
Right.
there are eyes on you, even in that closed door meeting, I think it will put a lot of people, make people a little aware about what they should or should not say. Maybe it will encourage them not to make it personal, not to, for mediators to not make personal comments, to stick to their mandate. Adding structure to the process and for there to be a record of the proceedings, that would really help.
Right. Advocate Ankur Jahagirdar, thank you very much for your time. Very important conversation. And thank you for being willing to have this conversation. Thank you so much.